Hello everyone, Pockets here, back again playing some more EVE Online. Back on Cursed, doing our sister's epic arc, the Bloodstained Stars. So let's just get right into it and get on our mission. There's a couple things I want to talk about, but let's get in space and get things being shot while I do so. So let's grab this guy here. This is called House of Records. Oh, it's a cargo, so we're going to move it from here. Let's just take this. And we're going to move it to there. So there and back. So we go get it from them, bring it back, not a problem, got it. So that'll give us some jumps so we can talk and set some stuff up. Apparently our war target logged off and nobody has seen him in the last little bit, so we should be pretty okay there. I'll just still keep an eye on my intel channels. I said undocked, didn't I? Come on now. There we go. So the first thing I want to do, I got an email from a guy. Open it up here. Maybe once we're done our session change. And we'll see how this goes here. Alright. So I got an email from a guy. Get his name for you here. Toshka Mayday. About overview settings and something I can do differently based on what he was seeing. So we are going to take a look at this. So if we go into our overview settings. And then under presets, I think it was. So here's our types. This is kind of what shows up. So we want to do, so I'm adding this to my PvP tab. We're going to do it so that the wrecks show up, but only if they have loot that haven't been looked at yet. So we go wreck. We want to show the wrecks. Okay. So we'll save that. That'll show the wrecks on the one tab. I wouldn't want to do this in like a PvP setting when things are going to get really cluttered, but for what we're doing with Cursed at the moment, this is actually probably pretty good. And then I've never noticed it, but there's this states tab here. It's just one of those things I've never really looked at. And if we go down here, we're going to do a session change, so we'll wait for that to finish. And we'll get on our way to our next gate. But in here is how you can set how things show up within the tab based on what's called states. So you can have, you know, show by default if they're interactable. Then there's like a don't show, so like if you have a kill rate you can say don't show or always show regardless. So there's three little things: always show, don't show, and show by default. So this one's the one that we're going to worry about, these two. So if we scroll down to the bottom, we got Rex. Right now it shows all, right? Show by default Rex and already been viewed. But what I want to do is don't show this. So if I don't show empty wrecks, once I've looted them, or if there's nothing in them, they just won't show up. They're still going to show up on this tab because it's got its own settings, but on my PvP tab now, which is technically combat, it's just reusing an old overview. The combat tab, now wrecks with lootable wrecks will show up. It's that simple. Okay, and I can have it that wrecks, already viewed wrecks always show, but I basically, if I've looked at it and or there's no loot, it'll go away. So there we go. And if we save that, we'll see that once we actually start fighting, anything with loot should show up on the overview. So that was pretty cool. I really appreciate that. That's a nice little tidbit. It's going to stop me flipping back and forth more like this. The only time I'll do that is if I want to loot or see what there was for X, or if I want to salvage them for some reason. But yeah, now I can sort of live more on my primary tab, and I like that. We'll see how cluttered it gets in the future. But for now, I think that works. So thank you very much for that, Mr. Mayday. Toshka Mayday? Did I get it? Yes. So thank you. And yeah, so War Deck has been quiet. He undocked a little earlier. He killed one guy. I didn't actually see the kill mail. It was some small, I think it was a Garmer. And then docked up, and we haven't seen from him since. So I think we're going to be pretty safe. I will, like I said, keep an eye on local, keep an eye on my intel channels, just to see if he shows back up. But I think this is going to be another non-starter as far as having to do anything about it. So there you have it. So I did the New Year's thing with some friends. One of them used to play EVE, hasn't been for about 6 months now, and another one played a long time ago but couldn't get into it. And a bunch of questions were asked from them, as well as my wife asked a couple questions. She doesn't really play EVE. She tried it for about, a day once. But she keeps asking questions because she's curious. And so I figured I would try to cover some of those, if I can remember them properly. The big one from both my wife and the non-player was, what do you do in Eve? And we get that a lot. It's like, how do you play Eve? And I kind of just looked at him for a minute and thought, and I'm like, that's an impossible question to answer, pretty much, because technically, and it sounds like a cop-out, but you can do whatever you want. And he looked at me with that, oh sure, here we go again. But I turned it around and I said, the better question is, how do I do this thing? I want to be this kind of player, how do I get there? So if you can get players to understand what they want to do, then we can start directing them to that. So I asked that question of him, first off, and he said, well, let's say I want to steal stuff. Pretty broad thing. He just wants to be like a pirate guy. All right. Let me just grab that. So I told him, well, there's many ways you can do that. And I talked to him about being in low sec, doing PvP, blowing people up and looting their wrecks. It's one way to be a pirate. Or used to be able to tie people down and hold them for ransom, and they'd pay and you let their ship go. Or not. Preferably do so that people will pay you next time, but that's up to you. And I went through about 20 different ways that one could be a pirate. First off, right from insta-locking battle cruisers, gate camping, if you want to go that route, high-sec ganking, joining groups or doing that sort of thing, and blowing up freighters, or using like tornadoes on the Jita undock to blow up freighters and loot the wrecks with an alt, that sort of thing, or having someone on standby to do it. So I went through all that stuff. I then also told briefly and without super great detail, because I mean they don't know the players, but I told the story of CO2 and Judge and Gigs and all that, and how that kind of all went down, and how this guy got in, got trusted, hit a point, and then decided just to flip, stole everything, sold it, and made away rich like a bandit, and seemed to have satisfied, okay, at least that gameplay's there. How do you get there? My wife asked, because when she played, she did a little bit of mining and kind of flew around in a frigate, but she's like, so do you just work towards a bigger ship and bigger ship and bigger ship? And I'm like, well, that's, again, what do you want to do? You can do that where it's, I want to fly a battleship, and you work your way to it. And so to answer her question, I kind of just picked 3 of my characters and talked about what I did with them. So, like, Cursed here, that we're flying right now, he had a very specific goal. Get to level 4 missions in a Maelstrom. That is the target. Whatever it takes to get there. Now, as an experienced player, I kind of cut some corners in some of the skills that I'm now training, that I would usually recommend people train earlier on when you're still in a frigate. But I kind of understood some stuff, so I kind of cut some corners, but I do feel it. Like, there's the tank and the firepower of this Rupture is not quite where it could be. But I understood that, I knew that going in, and I knew I'd be okay. We're starting to get some of those skills trained up to fix that, but yeah, that's a goal. He's going to start at the frigate, he went into a destroyer, cruiser, the Rupture, he's now in a Hurricane, working his way up to the battleship. That's his target. Once he gets there, that target is met, and then you can pick something else. You can be comfortable and just do that thing, but what's better is, what's the next thing? And then pick another target and figure out how to get there. So that's what I did with Cursed. Originally with Pockets, he was just my high-sec site running alt, so the whole idea of him was just to run seasonal sites in high-sec, occasionally run missions, read combat anomalies, like Serpentis dens and refuges, that sort of thing, get escalations. So I literally built him a skill plan that was nothing but to fly a Gila. And I got him those skills, and I bought him a Gila, and that's basically what he did for the longest time. It's one ship, and he just did those things occasionally. Like, I'd log him in when there was a new event, and he'd go do his thing. And I was happy with that. He stayed like that for probably a year. And then I decided, okay, well, I want to check out Faction Warfare. So I took him, and I put the training queue back on him for a bit. Got him fired up, because it's on the same account as my main. So I switched the queue to him, and I started training some of the more necessary frigate skills. So I got him T1 hybrid guns, and or T2 hybrid guns and missiles and that sort of thing, and I moved him over into Faction Warfare. Decided I wanted to do more over there, so I pulled him out and put my main in, which is fine, but realistically, at first he was just a Gila pilot, like literally straight to, not even T2, it didn't even matter. I had just basic light missile skills, T2, or not even T2, medium drone skills, because he flies faction drones, because they get a little more HP and they're just a little bit better than T2. As for at least I like them. They're a little more expensive, but they have some more hit points and that sort of thing. So it was, and I only needed 2 of each type, so it wasn't so bad. So not even T2 drones, not even T2 weapons at first, straight to a Gila. So the main things were getting Galente and Kildari skills to 4 at least, basic missile skills to 3 or 4, drone skills to 4, and 5 were needed to fly 5 drones. Even though he didn't really need it, I trained drones to 5 because you never know. But his goal was literally sit in the Gila, fly that as well as I need him to. So really good shield tanking skills. That was the other one. So shield, missiles, drones, and then Galente Kildari frigates to 4, and he was good to go. And I didn't touch him for almost a year. Now he's got new goals. He fired up his Malro. He's now the CEO. I need to branch out, so he started training into right now Megathron, because I want to be able to fly a Megathron in the higher level Resource War sites, and probably end up going the Exuma route for the same reason. I need him to be flexible for running the higher emission sites. And I've started fleshing out a lot of the hybrid gun skills and that sort of thing. But at first his goal was literally that, and that's what I focused on, and that's fine. And for him that was enough. Kel has kind of been bounced around all over the place. He's my oldest character, so he started training. He did missions, so I got him to a Raven, and was running level 4 missions in a Raven for a long time. I really like flying Logi, so that's what he's been working on now, is feeling Logi skills. But so he's kind of my shorter term goal. So right now he's getting just a couple more of the key Logi stuff trained up. And I actually just recently finished training him into a Legion, a Proteus, and the Tengu. I started the Proteus and the Tengu before the T3 cruisers, and I haven't flipped over to do the Loki yet, which I probably will do, just to have all 4 as options. But that was something I did once I had the basic Logi stuff. But so I flop him around a little more often, but he's kind of doing a lot more as well, because he's doing all the faction warfare and nullsec stuff. So he has to be a little more flexible. But really, long story short, this game is what you make it. You don't even have to be able to fly a ship, really, to play this game. If you're interested in just playing the market, mercenary distractions, we can take that. It's in the same system. No flashy reds. This will probably be a killing mission. Anyways, if you just want to play the market, you can take your starter ship right out of the tutorial or whatever they give you, fly to Jita, dock up, and never undock again. You can sit there and train skills and play the market, if that's what you're into, and there are people that do that. If all you want to do is mine, I mean, outside of some tanking skills and some basic drone skills, all you need to train are your mining skills and you're good to go. There's chains you can go if you want to get better at it. You can train into Exumers. If you want to do like fleets, you can train into fleet command ships if you feel like it. If you want to haul or like, there's all these other little goals, but pick something, work on it. Once you're happy with where it's at, what's your next step? And that's kind of the best way, in my opinion, to tackle Eve, because ask the question, what do I do in Eve? That just, you can't answer that. What I can tell you is what I do. Right? So if you come to me and say, what do I do? It's like, well, this is what I do. Does that sound interesting? What do you want to do? Think about it. So if someone comes to you and asks that, just ask the question back. It's like, what do you want to do? Let's get you doing that and working towards that. If all you want to do is explore and see the sites, great. Train into an Astero or a Covert Ops frigate, fit it up, and disappear into the void. Keltorn did that for 2 years before I switched him over to the faction warfare side. He'd just disappear into a wormhole, pop his head out into nullsec, and just explore, not even scanning things, checking out data sites, relic sites, and just doing it, right? So it really is just that kind of game where you do just whatever you want to do. It's not, you can't just answer what do. You do what you want. And so it's been fun. And I've been trying to figure out how to really explain this to new players, because I do get asked a lot. I talk about Eve. I'm not ashamed that I play it. And I do get a little defensive when people start poo-pooing it too hard, because they just don't understand maybe. And I had to take them aside. It's like, you had a bad experience. I get it. Eve is a hard game. It does not hold your hand. Right? It just doesn't. It refuses. The tutorial's gotten a little better, but still, it kind of just... And you end up in low sec and blown up before you know it. And it's just, that's the kind of game. So we talked a bit about that. He seemed to, I don't know if he'll come and play it, but he at least accepted the fact that The game is not like anything else out there. And yeah, so if someone asks you that, that would be the biggest thing I would say, is turn it around on them, ask them what they want to do, and say, if you can tell me what kind of thing you want to do, even if it's vague, we can help work out what that means and how to get there. And that's sort of what I've been doing lately when people ask me. So yeah, as for my wife, I just told her, I'm like, that's a question I just can't answer. It's not just a matter of, do you start at frigate and work your way up to battleship and then maybe into capitals? It's like, well, no. It's just no. If all you want to do is frigate PvP, there's no point to train anything else. Train your frigates, get as good as you can at them, and when you're happy where it is, what's the next thing? And as long as people do that, I don't care what it is. If you just want to mine, then don't tell them, no, don't mine. Say, okay, get to a point where you're happy mining, and then decide what's next. That's just the better way to do it. Because telling people, oh no, you don't want to mine, it's boring, they're just not going to try. And then they're not going to get sucked in, and they're not going to move on to the fun part of the game, which is PvP or whatever you think the fun part is. And so yeah, it was a fun about a week. You know, I've had the question 4 times in the last week, and I'm sure I will get the question again and again and again. And I do know people who just couldn't wrap their head around it, and just that's fine. Sometimes this game's just not for people. I didn't read the last missions, but I was rambling, so I think that covered it. Yeah, so do what you want. If you don't know what to do, think about what kind of thing you want to do, and then ask how to do that. And then those of us with experience can help you get there. And that's going to be key to enjoying EVE. It's that simple. Anyways, I didn't read the last missions, that's okay. We can just start here. An economy under threat. Damn Vitamala, he wasn't coordinating with the Navy's Emergency Logistics Division. There's a colony nearby that missed a shipment of farming supplies thanks to the chaos caused by these drones. If we don't make the deliveries ourselves, then we risk the entire agricultural community. Once you take these goods over to our fleet, they will deal with the rest. We can finally turn our focus towards the underlying cause of all these problems. You need at least 150 meters cubed of cargo space to make the delivery. Keep that in mind. I have that in spades, so we're going to go ahead and grab this, and I think we just deliver it to the storage warehouse. Alright, that sounds easy enough. Make sure you go in here and put them in your inventory before you undock. And here we go. Let's get into space. Alright, so yeah, and feel free to ask questions of me, either in the YouTube comments, hit me up on Twitter. The Malevelon public Discord is open to everyone. You don't have to join. You can just come hang out in there and chat with us. That is perfectly acceptable and encouraged. So if you have questions, especially if you're new, come hang out. There's been a gentleman I've been chatting with back and forth on the YouTube comments and various videos about the fitting of this rupture, and we've been tweaking it. He's Loyal is the one. We've been sort of bouncing back and forth about the fit of the rupture and been tweaking it and looking at it, and that's fun. I really enjoy doing that. I do still plan on doing a video, at least one video, on the very basics of fittings, how I fit a ship, and my sort of thought process and how I approach it. So I'm hoping to get that done this week. It was supposed to be today, but real life kind of took off, and that video takes a little more work than me just spewing what comes to mind while running missions. So decided to go with another one of these today. So hopefully tomorrow, or at least sometime this week, I will get that video together. And it's going to be super high level. It's not going to be like the absolute right way to fit a ship. It's just not going to be, because in my mind there is no absolute right way to fit a ship. There's how to fit a ship to do the job you want it to do, if that makes sense. But we'll talk about that in that video. I don't want to spoil it now. Let's go ahead and pulse our micro warp. Got our tank on. I don't even think we have to shoot anything. We can just open this baby up and drop the loot off. But yeah, if you want to chat about the game at all in any aspects, fittings, culture, meta, whatever, come hang out in our Discord. It's what we like to do. It's what I like to do. My favorite part of the game is discussing the game. And there we go. So we'll just dock up. So no combat there either. Let's actually reload our guns. We didn't do that after the last one. We can turn this off so we align faster. That should actually work quite nicely. Is it reloading? Yes, it is. Beautiful. So yeah, and like I said, there's no pressure to join us. You can come hang out in the public lobby. I do have a Malevelon public channel, it's more for recruiting. We try not to do too much discussion there, but feel free to reach out to me at malro_public in-game. I'll just unblur it here for a second so you can see it right there. So just anybody in here we can chat here as well. And aside from that, that's the best 3 ways to get a hold of me. Twitter is hit or miss because I forget to check it half the time. But, you know, try it anyway if you like. If that's your preferred medium, I will do better. I am on Facebook as well in some of the EVE groups. You can look for me there under Pockets DK. And most of the links for that stuff should be in the comments of most of my EVE videos. But there we have it. I'm greatly enjoying this series and playing it, and just being able to talk about EVE and pretend at least that people are enjoying my conversation. It's a little hard to have a discussion during a video, but in the comments or on the Discord afterwards has been great. So got that. Did I even read that one? I don't remember. This video is going to be distracted. My mind is wandering. Yeah, there's just nobody here. He's going to show up probably in the C's because he's CPT. Probably won't see him too much down here. Might get him under Sergeant, actually, so we can watch the S's too. But yeah, I don't think we'll see him tonight. He seems to play earlier in the day. Request mission. What do we got next? We got every drone inside. This one sounds interesting. Neutralize every drone. This might be the one that we've been watching for. I think we're just going to go into it, though, and pray. I'll just start kiting immediately in case it's the right one. Sounds like it's a lot of drones. Every drone inside. I know there's a couple. The other one might be something about Hive. Nope. Actually, I can show you this now that I've seen the states thing. I realized what it was. I'm going to show you this. So over here, see how this guy's flashing? He's suspect, which means he's done something naughty, and people can go engage him. But if we bring up our... So I've actually hotkeyed my overview settings to Shift-O. There's no hotkey by default, and the only way I've been able to find to get to it, other than making a hotkey, is to be in space. So I always map it to Shift-O. So you look right here. So it shows... Actually, I'm going to do... Just because. Let's do that. Because it's fun. So pilot is at war with your corporation alliance. Always show it as red. So regardless of anything else, it'll show it if he's at war. Perfect. But under the appearance, because I went digging when I saw that there was other things, right here you can see exactly how he's going to show up. Right, so he's red and blinking with a, like this, not a skull. Red and blinking, and because it's towards the top, it takes precedence over everything below it. So if they're in my fleet, it doesn't matter what any other state they have, doesn't matter, they're going to show up purple. If they're at war, it doesn't matter what other ones of these they go, they're going to show up red. If they happen to be at war and in our fleet, they're going to show up purple, and that could be bad. But that's not likely to happen. And then with the militia, because this wasn't a faction warfare overview, so this is high up, and then all the way down. So it's cool because it's kind of order of priority all the way down the list. So just so you know about that. And you can also change the color of the background, so you can see with at war, it's red blinking background. So on the overview, you'll see red and orange blinking if they're in these two. Also, different types of engagements. Yeah, so play with that. Most of this is already set up on my overview that I shared. So if you're using that one, like you just saw it, the only thing you may want to tweak if you're using that one is the Rex, if you like how that looks, which we will see. Hey, I know. Let's do this. Every drone inside. This is me when I play EVE. Oh, look, shiny. Okay, focusing. Normally the local security forces would want to handle this drone threat themselves, but we are willing to contract the job out to a capsuleer, because we're awesome. You'll have to go in alone while our fleet holds the line. I suggest you take some friends into the fight. The drones have been growing in numbers, as more are corrupted and somehow find their way to the swarm. Once you neutralize a threat, you should search the wreckage for something that will help with your investigation. Okay, so this is perfect because there should be hopefully a wreck, maybe a can. It might just stuff it in my inventory, but that's okay. If this is the one I think it is, and we'll see once we get in, some of the drones web, so they slow you down, but more dangerously, some of the drones will scram you if they get close enough, which means that you can't warp away if you get into trouble. It's a thing. part of me wants to see more of it in PvE content. Other parts of me don't. It's one of those things where it would be cool, but there's a lot of other things that have to be considered before you would say that's the best idea ever. That's just, yeah, so part of me wants to see more scramming, especially in missions, to make them a little harder. We'll see. It's not, the other part of me doesn't want it because there's things that other players can do to make it, I didn't accept the mission. Oh wait, I think I can accept it remotely, right? Let's just see. Nope, I docked up. Okay, perfect, that's fine. We'll accept the mission. See, distracted, too much talking. And go. Whew. Okay. I really am bad at this game. Look at that. What was I saying? Yeah, so one part of me wants to see more scramming in missions and stuff, and part of me is afraid to see what the more aggressive, I guess would be a word for it, portion of the EVE community would do with that information. Like, if someone wants to gank you and you're already webbed by the drones you're fighting, there's a lot less they have to do to keep you there. So there's some of that too, so gotta watch it. You know, you don't want your blinged rattlesnake webbed or scrammed by NPCs and have, 100 Marmite or Code catalysts show up on grid to blow you up. Because they don't even have to bump you or hold you down, you're already stuck. So, there's a give and take there. It'd be cool, but it's also scary. But this is EVE. It's supposed to be scary. High-sec is not safe. In fact, it can be more dangerous sometimes because some of the mechanics, like high-sec ganking, are difficult to defend against unless you really know what you're doing. Like, it's not like you can, oh, Code is showing up on grid, I'm going to go ahead and shoot them. Because if you do that, then they can shoot you and they don't lose anything, and you get concorded instead of them, so you have to wait for them to do the opening move, and I don't know, it's a tricky business. Okay, what do we got here? How close are we? Okay, we're going to start closing the distance. We're going to get our drones out. We're going to be very careful. We'll watch for webs. I'm going to remove these blue guys from my overview. We don't need them because we're not going to shoot them. So I'm just right-clicking, gives you some options on adding and removing things. We got to get within 36. Should have brought some long-range ammo. I probably could have reached out to 70, 60, but I'm going to do this so I turn around immediately when I get close. Because if this is the one I think it is, again, I don't want to... Not quite enough frigates, or not enough NPCs, so it might not be this one. I'm pretty sure there was more than this in the one I'm thinking of. But we're going to play it carefully anyways, because we don't want to lose our ship to stupid. Let's keep an eye on here. There's nothing red. Vocal's quiet. Intel's quiet. Discord's quiet. Everything's quiet. I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to be fine. Move this. Yep. We're all good here. How are you? Come on. Okay, let's pulse it once. It's taking too long. Yeah, I don't think this is the big one. There's one more where there's much more stuff on grid when you land. We'll see if they start scramming us, though. They should have to get within, like, 10 or 12. 20 if it's a single point. Don't know how the NPCs, if they follow the same rules as people, but as players, but they have to get close enough. Alright, they're coming my way, so I'm going to call my drones, because they're going to actually start shooting my drones, so we'll bring our drones in for now. And we're just going to sort of slow boat away from them. They're traveling, let's go at 100. Might start picking these guys off. We should if they're coming straight on us. They're coming straight in. So we should be able to, like, reach out to them, hopefully, maybe. No, we're just missing. Okay, let them get a little closer. We need them within 36, yeah. So I'm actually gonna stop. I pulled my drones in while they're yellow boxing because they can shoot them. Once they red box me, I'll pull my drones out. I'd rather not lose the drones, because like I said, they're expensive to replace at 3 mil or so a pop. And we're trying to save up for a battleship. So, is this not coming? It's not even actually coming anymore. Fine. Let's just do this. Actually, there we go. Now he's coming. I might be playing it a little too easy. This ship, maybe I'll just handle it, no problem, but it's a good lesson. You know, this is how you carefully approach and engage things. There we go. Got one of them. Let's lock these guys up too. See if we can't piss them off a bit and encourage them to come a little closer. One. Are you going to shoot for me? That'd be great. Oh, there we go. F1 didn't want to shoot. We'll put another gun on each of these. Alright, let's go this way now. So we're getting a little closer. I don't want to let them in close enough to scram me if I can help it. Pew! And if I do this, they should line up. Let's just see. Yeah, beautiful. That guy's hard to hit. We're probably going to have to deal with... Oh, there we go. I thought we might have to use drones on him, but 3, 4, 5. No red boxing yet, so they're not even actually aggressing, which is fine. So we'll just carefully pick them all off here. We'll stay at sort of kite range. Oh, let's add a gun here. Where's my other one? Not 2. We can add a gun here. I'm gonna put one on him. Now we're starting to get out of range again, so let's pick this guy and close it range to 34. This guy is gone. Yeah, this is not actually going too bad. So this definitely isn't the mission I thought it was. If I remember correctly, the one mission that I'm thinking of, they do not give you a minute. Like, if you just fly straight at them, they'll close the gap, web you down, and lay into you. And you will lose your ship, because you can't get away. Unless you're good and you can shoot the webbers, or the scrammers before they kill you. So that's usually what I do, is if someone's scramming me, they go first. If they're webbing me, they're the next. And then just the highest damage after that. You can mitigate a lot of damage with your speed a lot of the times. So it's good to try to keep that up. We'll approach this guy. We'll blow this guy out of the water. Yeah, this is not the one. There might be multiple waves. We'll see what happens if another wave or something shows up. But this is definitely not the scary mission. So I probably came in a little too light. Probably could have just gone in for it. But, you know, better safe than sorry if you're trying not to waste ISK and trying to buy a battleship. He's done. Okay, that's it. Sweet. Start conversation. Oh yeah, I have to find something. Did we get a wreck? No. There's nothing. Maybe I should have read the pop-up. No, that's it. We're just going to dock up and hand in the mission. Okay, drones are in. There we go. So, there's a few drones. That wasn't the scary mission, so we'll just have to keep keeping an eye out for that. It's something, I think it's something to do with a hive or a mother. I could look it up, but I've only said it 100 times. I'm lazy. So, we will see what our next mission is and go from there. We'll see how our standings are. I don't think we're still not getting Sisters standings, so hopefully we'll end up back at the Sisters hub long enough to get the rest of our standings. If not, we will have to take out our Hurricane. Oh no. You know, I might have to fly one of my favorite ships in the game, as far as their looks are concerned. Oh, no, that's just a red. See, this will be Marmite or Code. Marmite Collective, yeah. So it wasn't flashing. That's the difference between someone I've set red and a war target. Anyways, hand this baby in. No, I'm going to use this because eventually that's the way to go. And suggested. And it should just have it at the top. I kind of like it. I was looking for locator agents earlier, and it's really nice because it shows, you can see very easily on the map where they're clustered. So if we were going to pick a mission hub, it might be another way. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. We have level 2 standings towards this guy. Alright. Complete mission. Thank you for taking care of the drone problem. A capster like you may not consider it a big achievement, but trust me, you've done what few others could. You clearly have a great future ahead of you. I hope you continue to use that talent to do good things, either within the state or elsewhere. I will. I do good wherever I go. Or well, at least I try to do well. If not good, I try to do well. Yep, okay, good. We're going back to the sisters. Perfect. I've just been contracted by Sister Alatura. She wants you to get back in touch with her right away. Here, take this transponder beacon so I know with you when you leave. That way I'll know when you arrive safely. Alright, so I'm going to accept this mission. I'm going to travel there off camera because you guys don't need to see me jump 7 jumps in a cruiser. So in the next video, we'll pick up with whatever she has in store for us next. And that's that. So 3 missions down. I don't think we got any sisters standing. Yep. No, we're still at the 4.56, but that's okay. We could probably get a lot of this in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you didn't get too bored with my random musings, and I hope I didn't bounce around too much and it was at least semi-coherent. As I said, if you want to chat, comments down below are fine, or head on over to the Malro public Discord and chat with me there. But as always, folks, if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. And take care. I'm out of here.